Hey there friends, welcome to the vid, and in this vid I'm going to talk about age and DPDR. So does what age you're at affect whether you are going to get DPDR or not? And also, how does it actually affect your recovery? And while you're going through DPDR, if you do have it, does it make it worse? Does it make it better? Sort of what impact does your age actually have on it? Because I've been getting a lot of questions about, Dan, I'm 18 years old, is it normal to get DPDR at this age? Or some people might say, I'm in my 60s and this thing has only just happened. I've never had it in my life before. Is this normal? So as a general sort of overview, your age does have an impact in terms of your ability to be able to recover. And what I mean by that is that if you're somebody who is only 17 or 18 or 19, then you haven't had a lot of time to learn how to cope with certain things. And if you are somebody who's older, who's experiencing DPDR, then it would be fair to say that you've experienced more life, you've done more things, you've sort of gotten wiser in everything that you've been through and in your age. So all of this does have an impact on your recovery from DPDR. But there's something very special here, and it's very specific to DPDR recovery that doesn't necessarily matter how old you are when it does come to recovery. One thing that's common between everybody, regardless of your age, is that we all have our own perspective of the world, and we all have our own beliefs about the world and about ourselves as well. And we also have similar ways of reacting to things. If something's scary, we might all jump. If something makes us happy, then we'll all smile. And this is where DPDR and anxiety comes in, because it affects all of those very things. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether you're somebody who's quite young or somebody who's older. It is going to affect you in the same way, because we all have the same emotions, we all experience the same things, and so anxiety and DPDR is going to have the same effect on you. Before I explain to you how you can use your age to your advantage to recover from DPDR and anxiety, so if you're somebody who's older, something that's very specific to you, and if you're younger, how you can leverage that as well. But if you do need help with your recovery and you're not quite sure what to do or where to start, then check out the Freedom course. It's the best DPDR and anxiety online recovery course that there is, and it is really going to take you from any stage in your recovery all the way through to getting on the path to recovery and recovery. Link to that's in the description and the pinned comment, so go check that out. So two very specific things happen to you with regard to your age and your outlook on DPDR. If you're somebody who's young, you're gonna have this and go, what's my future like? Am I ever gonna be able to be happy again? How am I gonna be able to sustain my career? And of course, sort of all those fears go through your mind. And if you're somebody who's sort of been in that for a little while, then you'll say to yourself something a little bit different, which is, well, I've never experienced this before. Why am I experiencing this now? How can I go through so much trials and tribulations and never have had this? Why am I getting it right now? And I know that both of these fears are really overwhelming, because I thought exactly that too. I was more in the second category, and I haven't had anything like this before, but I went through and had a full recovery, and all those thoughts obviously diminish, and now I don't have those type of thoughts, but I understand where you're coming from. And so one thing that happens when you do go through DPDR is that your world does get turned upside down, and all hope for the future does get lost. In fact, your mind pretty much just almost dismisses everything that's happening in your life right now, and you might have even gone to the point of quitting your job or moving back in with family or friends. Or you might still be in your job, but you're really struggling to get through it, and you're considering quitting. You're wondering about that holiday that you can do in the future, the event that you have to go to. Are you going to be okay for that? So I get how impactful it all is. But it doesn't matter what age you are, the path to recovery is to process your anxiety and mend your relationship with it. Because right now it's completely out of whack, and it's dominating you in this relationship, because you've been anxious in the past and you haven't had these symptoms. So why are you having them now? It's simply because you've been anxious too long, and also perhaps you've been stressed too long as well. And quite frankly, your nervous system and your body and your mind has just been tipped past breaking point. So that's why you're seeing the world through these anxious lenses, and that's why you're thinking all these bad things about yourself and the future, and that's why you're having all these symptoms. And so you might be wondering, well, how do I do that? What does it process anxiety mean? What does mend your relationship with anxiety means? What it means is that you've got to realize right now that you are seeing everything through an anxious lens. So you're going to catastrophize, you're going to have intrusive thoughts. If there's something that happens to you, and there's a million different outcomes of what that could lead to, you're always going to jump to the worst one. And you're probably not even recognizing that you're doing that. And that is going to feed back into the anxiety, and so feed back into your symptoms. And so the cycle continues. So what you've got to do is recognize when you are having these intrusive thoughts, when you are catastrophizing, when you are thinking the worst, when you are putting yourself down, when you are making up things about your situation or about yourself that aren't true, but you're believing them because you're saying them, and so you're making them true. All of this stuff feeds into the anxiety, and so feeds into the symptoms. And once you recognize that, then you can challenge it, you can flip it around, you can give other alternatives to what is actually happening, other alternatives to the answer. And once you do that, then the anxiety starts to crumble. You know, you start to feel a bit lighter, you start to feel a little bit more hopeful, and then that feeds into the positive feedback loop of you start to feel the symptoms lifting. You know, you haven't actually done anything specifically to get rid of the symptoms, but the consequence of you working and processing on your anxiety is the very thing which is going to lift the symptoms. And so all of this is going to have a positive effect. And it only takes a little bit for you to get that hope back, and for you to realize that you are on the right path. And then when you are on that right path, then you know it is just a matter of time, and it really is just a matter of time to continue doing these things. I really hope this video has helped you. Go check out the Freedom course. I'd love to see you in there. Until next time, bye.